Hello, welcome to Directly You, episode 198. It's the Redirect podcast. You know what? I almost messed up something different. I said I was going to mess up the episode number. I almost said it's the other podcast that it's not. Anyway, you could support this podcast by going to youtube.com/watch redirect or twitch.tv/watch redirect and give them $4.99 of your money. Or if you're on Twitch specifically, you can take it from Jeffy B. There's controversy happening in that realm right now. If you want less of your money to corporate overlords and you're not going to take it from Jeffy B, it probably makes more sense to give it to us through Patreon. That's the best option, or YouTube. All that stuff is linked in the description. In exchange for that, you get loyalty badges on Twitch and YouTube specifically. You get emotes, you get free Switch keys from time to time. All that stuff. You also get the free Switch keys from time to time on Patreon, because that goes in the supporter Discord. Whenever we have like extra codes lying around, I just throw them up in the supporters chat. But Patreon, you get a whole bunch of other stuff that is all listed, and these perks all stack when they're relevant. You know, like emotes, we can't give you emotes on Patreon because that doesn't work that way for whatever reason. But we can give you all the other stuff that we can give you through Patreon on the other platforms. And if you're like a Twitch Prime sub and a $4 patron, you'll get the $8 reward, so on and so forth. We play video games here. Actually, well, I mean, we're playing one specific
there
game.
You go. Yeah. So
well, perfect. You're not. You didn't play it yet.
Haven't yet. No.
I played.
You got it on the Australian account, right?
Yes.
So I probably can't play it on mine.
I mean, you could. I can give you the account.
Oh, that's true. Okay, we can do that.
And also, I don't know how this game works in that regard, to be honest with you. Because, I mean, I could probably, I can send you the account, but I don't know how it will interact with it. Because when you open the game, you know how some games on Switch, like, it just opens the game. It doesn't, like, put you like 1-2 switch is an example. It doesn't like take you to a specific account. It just opens the game.
Oh, interesting.
So the thing with Switch Sports is it opens the game and then you pick which account. So I don't know how that works.
Probably just pick the Australian account, I guess. I mean, maybe I'll just.
Well, you could see. That's what I was saying. Like for Switch Sports, if it doesn't. Doesn't like lock you out if the game is just open and it is dependent on the account, you would be able to pretty much play that game whenever, because I never use that account. Nice. But if it does, like, for whatever reason, tie up that account, I don't know. It'll be like when I'm playing that game specifically, you won't be able to play, sort of thing. But we'll see. We'll cross that.
Honestly, maybe that's the play in the future, is like we get a redirect account and just put it in Australia, or just, I mean, turn this into like the redirect one, and then just like for games especially that we're not just like both gonna have or whatever, we just do that, because then whichever one.
For the most part, I usually so the way that I do the Australian thing, for people that don't know, which there's another story about that I'll get to. The way that I do it is we have Mega Man. He's from
that's right. You have to do that.
So I hit up Mega Man and I say, yo, Mega Man, tell Aslan that I want to play the game. And then I give him the monies, and then he goes and buys the game. Usually the way that I do that is they still have vouchers. We do not, because Nintendo hates us in America. And I'll get the 2 vouchers and I'll use those to buy 2 games that are like very close in proximity to each other. Like I bought Brilliant Diamond and I saved the 2nd voucher for Arceus. But for this game specifically, it's not a full price game.
Yeah, right. Is it on the voucher as well?
No, I mean, it is, but it would be stupid of me to use it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's because that's always a little bit tricky. I remember there was some on the voucher. Like I think Captain Toad was on the vouchers, and I'm like, ooh, you're losing money.
Scandalous. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's still technically cheaper for me, because Australian and New Zealand money is not.
They're dollar bucks, as we know from Bluey.
Exactly.
The parents
Monopoly money is not worth as much. But for this specifically, for whatever reason, the vouchers, it let me use the Australian account to get the vouchers, and Mega Man could just go and buy them. But for this, he also wants to get or he also wanted, he already did it,
Yeah.
to get Switch Sports. And if he buys Switch Sports through my account on his Switch, it will not let him buy Switch Sports on his account on his Switch. And in that region, they can't buy it on the eShop from the browser either, which is stupid. Because I was like, well, that's easy. Just open a private window and buy it on the browser. He's like, I can't.
Yeah.
So he had to go to get gift card credit.
Wow.
Which is annoying, but like usually it doesn't matter because it's like you could just get the voucher. But
yeah,
for this fringe case, and also it didn't matter for Kirby because he didn't plan on getting Kirby anyway. So it's like usually it's simple. It's like I just send him $100 and he picks up the voucher and it's all good. But this time it was a little bit more complicated than that.
Yeah.
But I got it anyway.
Yeah. So you've played it a little bit so far. I know you streamed it. Did you play it with other people when you streamed it, or just
played it with Mega Man for a few rounds, 3 rounds or 4 rounds. He won every game. He won every game.
I mean, he's a sportsman, you know.
It's true.
IRL.
After playing it for a while, it was like I realized I was like some games. The theme that I realized is some games are like more complicated than I expected them to be, and some of them are nowhere near as complicated as I expected them to be. And it's like a weird combination of the two, right? Like I thought bowling was literally just like, I just freaking yeet the ball, man. But it like matters when you yeet the ball because it's like you approach and all that stuff. So it's like if you don't like yeet the ball at the right speed and is like close enough to the line, it's going like something that could have been a strike. If you freaking timed it better, it's not a strike because you timed it wrong. But I didn't realize that until we're already done. I was already playing the game for a while. But yeah, it's like I would say that the worst game so far from the ones that I played is badminton. It's terrible. It's terrible just because it's too simple. Like I was like, where's the mix? Like how do I like win easier? You know, it's like otherwise it's just volleying back and forth for forever. And
until somebody just like flubs it up a little bit. Yeah,
but it's like it's hard to flub because like the rackets are super long, and the only way to like mess somebody up other than them just throwing is if they time their swing too early, they dive, and then that has like end lag, and then you score on them. Or you can time yours better so that you can spike. So like it's completely timing dependent. With like tennis, the way that that's differentiated is it's like timing, but also like speed and like direction, and like there's like 2 more layers to it than that. And then volleyball is like the most, I would say, complex version of that, where it's like you have the dynamic of like you have to like follow, like set the ball up for your partner to then set up another situation for you to either spike it or them spike it before you or whatever, just depending on where they're at and where you're at and blah blah blah. That said, the fact that those dynamics even exist, I think is stupid and a waste of 2 games. Like, and I mentioned this before the game came out, that I was like, I think it's dumb that badminton and tennis and volleyball are 3 games in this. They're all the same game.
No, I mean, that is interesting. It's tricky because like I do wonder, you know, what's the perception of these games from the perspective of gamers who want something, you know, deep and a little bit complicated and keep you on your toes or something like that, versus like the target audience of casual gamers. Is it the same thing? Because it might actually be like they would also want something deep, and it's just like something accessible but deep, you know.
See, the thing is, I don't necessarily want depth. I just want the experiences to be different, you know. Right. Coincidentally, my favorite game is what I would say is the most deep game in it right now, and that's soccer. Like soccer is freaking hype, dude.
I mean, I've heard it's like Rocket League, but not.
Yeah,
it's Rocket League. It's Rocket League.
It's Rocket. It's Human League. But yeah, it's the coolest game. It's a fighting game, low-key. Like hitboxes matter, and it's like positioning matters and spacing and blah blah blah. But I don't know. It's just the coolest game. I think that the timer is too low because like I was barely ever. I played, I want to say 2 games where the combined score was more than 1.
Wow. Yeah.
Like it's a super rare situation. It seems like, especially early game, I guess. But yeah, I think 3 minutes is too short. Like I think that they should do like 5 minutes for soccer.
And you can't change those rules or anything.
You might be able to do it in friend games. I don't know. I was playing random people online for most of that. Me and Mega Man never even played soccer. We just played bowling and then Kambara, which was like, I thought that was going to be my favorite game. But that's one of the games that I was overthinking. Like, I was like, this game, like, it's probably like the other, like Wii Sports Resort, like where you're the exact way that you're holding your sword and how it lines up with the other sword, I feel like mattered a lot more. But in this game, it's just basically rock, paper, scissors. Especially if you're using a single sword, because it's like if you're holding your sword vertically, that will block horizontal slashes. If you're holding your sword horizontally, it blocks vertical slashes. If you're holding your sword diagonally, it blocks, you know, like that whole situation.
Do you think it's something where, like, I don't know, if both players become better at it and like kind of understand that dynamic, there's a chance that it could be more difficult or more like
I think that it's like, I think it's like the sort of situation where like Pokemon's rock, paper, scissors, and the better you are at it and you understand like counterplay and like what things are likely, like people are likely to go for and stuff like that, the more competitive it gets. But like obviously the more depth in the game, the more potential for that level of mix up to happen, right? I don't know, like I feel like the most advanced version of this is probably if it's like dual swords versus dual swords, because like I didn't look into the like the triangle for that, if there is one, and or if it does matter more exactly how you're holding your sword and stuff like that. Because I only saw the tutorial when I was using just the basic regular sword, and it was like, this is how you block this, and this is how you block that, and this is how you hit this, you know. So I don't know, maybe that's the play, maybe that's what I want to do if I want depth, but I didn't really get the chance to play around with that yet. But I mean, there's no other than badminton. There's no like bad game, you know. They're all pretty fun.
I think the thing I'm most curious about really is the like long-term stuff in the game, you know, like what do they add? If I mean, we know they're adding golf, and then past that, like, do they add more stuff? And also specifically, what does it look like for casual gamers? Like, does this scratch the same exact itch for, you know, because like thinking about us, people who played Wii Sports back in the day, and now we're like, it doesn't do the same thing, or it's like just the same as Wii Sports. Like, we've also grown so much since then, and our expectations of things are higher than they were at the time for those kinds of things. So that said, like for somebody who played Wii Sports, hasn't played a single thing since, and then, or, you know, like not much, and then it's coming back to this, does it fill that same niche or whatever?
I mean, I'm interested to see that too. I do think that this game has a lot of potential, because I think it's like, it's the thing where we talking about, which we'll talk about this for podcast listeners a little bit later, but for community games, thinking about stuff like that, like what games are the like most accessible for people to like in terms of like user base, and also like skill gap. I think that this game is probably top 3 for like how like good of an experience it is for people, if you balance all of those parameters out, you know. Because like accessibility, the most accessible game is probably like Fortnite, right? Like in terms of like, it's free, so like you got a phone, a Xbox, a PlayStation, you got
phones, don't you?
Switch, you know, like you can play Fortnite. But then you introduce the skill gap thing, where it's like there's definitely people that are significantly better than other people at Fortnite, and that's true for every game, right? But like you're not going to be that much better than the common person at Wii Sports. And then there's like the whole factor of like how many games, I mean, how many people per lobby, you know, how easy is it to get people in an individual lobby and so on and so forth. And in my mind, the front runners, like the easy front runners are currently, or prior to Switch Sports being a thing that's available for everybody. I think that it's Smash and Mario Kart.
Yeah, honestly.
But like I think Switch Sports is like a good contender for that. I think that it's probably going to be, and I mentioned this when we did the community games, that I think it's probably like the best option overall. Because like I don't feel like that many people actively want to play Mario Kart as much because it's a pretty old game. And you know, Smash Brothers obviously does have the skill ceiling, skill forward like difference and stuff like that, and also it's 8 people per lobby, so that's prohibitive in a different way. So, and also like it's definitely like weird, like me specifically, I skew the ratio of people that want to play Smash because I'm so big on Smash. So it could also be that. But I think Switch Sports is like a good test bed for another option.
Yeah, no, for sure. Mark said, what are the odds Nintendo puts more support behind Switch Sports tournaments than Smash tournaments?
No shot. Absolutely none. I think that it seems like they're gearing up to do the Panda thing soon-ish because Panda is ending their like ranking season, and I think that has something to do with them being ready to start the circuit, but we'll see. It's unrelated. And like maybe if that circuit falls through and like that's not what Nintendo thinks it's going to be, they'll put more effort into other things. But I think like if anything is going to be like overtake Smash in terms of like Nintendo supported tournaments, it's Splatoon 3. Yeah.
No, yeah, for sure. I think, for me, at this point, it seems like I'll probably end up getting Switch Sports myself for no other reason than to do the community games and stuff like that. I mean, it's nice to have a casual game for people to be able to play. You know, like my parents mentioned, they're coming to the States in August, so I guess can play some games with them and stuff too. But other than that, like my interest in it, I think would be piqued more by, I mean, the obvious thing, single player content, you know, which like sounds like is not a lot.
I mean,
I said Parker's not from the States.
Mario Kart.
Yeah, right.
You unlock customizable things and
and apparently most of the customizable things you unlock through doing online stuff, which is interesting. Like not,
I don't know if you can unlock in single player or not. I haven't.
Well, the only reason I say that is I watched the Nintendo Life non-review kind of thing where they mentioned that those things are at least mostly available, if not entirely available, from unlocking them in online stuff.
So I haven't messed around with single player, but like at the same time, I don't know what the point of playing it single player anyway. Like it's the same game. Just you're playing against humans, you know.
Something there. I've got a mental blocker where when it comes to playing against humans, and I don't know what it is. Like in terms of like playing against random people specifically. There's I don't know what it is. To answer Ryan's question real quick, Parker's not from the States. Long story short, born in the States. My parents are from the States originally, although my mom grew up in Australia for a while, but then lived overseas for a while. My parents are in Belgium, so I was there for like high school, and in France for elementary school and all that. And then, but they're still over there, so I don't see them that often. But here we are. In terms of single player stuff, I think it really would be exactly the same experience, but just, I don't know, nice to have progression and stuff, you know, like same kind of thing where World of Light was a good opportunity to have reason to play Smash, which I mechanically enjoy, without having to have experiences online where sometimes people are toxic or sometimes,
that I get.
Stuff.
I understand I want to play Smash online. I barely want to play Smash online. So, but like, I think it's a lot harder to be a sweat and be toxic, and people will find ways. But there's like this there's like a bell curve of the Smash is like somewhere at the like in the middle of the bell curve. It's like peak of like you can be toxic and like not actively look like an idiot. So like it's tilting. It's like annoying that somebody's being toxic, but like trying to be toxic in Switch sports, you look dumb. Right. So like I'm not made mad by that. I'm just thinking you're an idiot, you know?
Yep.
So like,
and I guess thinking more about it too, it might be to some degree that it's the like RPG fan in me, where when I'm playing against the game, I like know where I stack up in terms of things. And like, there's a degree of progression and progress, like that just makes sense, where it's like, I am now better than the hard difficulty, but not as good as the extreme difficulty or whatever, that kind of thing. Whereas when I play against real people, like, I don't know if I was better than that person because I was good or they were bad, or if I was worse than that person for the same, like those kinds of things.
There's I think it's just variables. That's
totally.
That's definitely the separation between me and you, because I love that. Like I not necessarily like they might have been bad, blah, blah, blah. I like the mind games. I like having to figure out on the fly what to do. Because like for the most part, there's some AI that's better than others. But for the most part, it's like once you figure out the AI, you figured out the AI and you're just going to win. But a person, like even if they're bad, they're going to like try to do something to adapt, and being able to exploit that is interesting for me.
Yeah. I mean, no, it totally makes sense. Yeah, it doesn't. It just barely doesn't make sense to me, but in general, like it totally makes sense. Or maybe I'm just lazy. It's also possible.
Maybe. I think you also like, and I told you this during the game night again, that you're better at Smash than you let on. Like you're decent.
Yeah. Honestly, only with young Link.
But that's most people. Like most people are only like Bob. Like Bob literally can only play Falcon, and like characters that are like he's like if I were to give him like a grade, if I'm like A or whatever, right? He's like B with Falcon, and then like C with like Ganondorf and Roy, and then F with every other character in the video game. That like, so most people are like that. And me, I would say that they're like, if my best character is Pokemon Trainer and I'm like A with that, I'm like B with 20 other characters in the game, and then C with like another 20, and then F with the rest of them.
Yep. That's fun. It is. I did really, back in the day, when playing like with roommates and stuff, my favorite thing was to choose like really obscure characters, quote unquote, to play. I mean, obscure in those days really was just like, whoever my roommates wasn't playing, so like Olimar and Pokemon Trainer, honestly. But like now within that,
Pokemon Trainer was garbage and Brawl.
Actual meta, I'm sure that's probably
Pokemon Trainer is very not very popular in this game, but popular enough, like significantly more popular than they were in Brawl, because in Brawl they were terrible. In this game they're like top tier for sure. So they're less fringe now, but in Brawl they were like freaking bottom 10 easy.
Man. I grabbed some questions that we had from various places to put that had to do with Switch Sports, and so we'll talk about them now. First thing, I put up a poll on YouTube community. Am I glitching, by the way, or like cutting in and out?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought I was. Just because you are sometimes. So is it pretty bad?
It's not terrible.
Okay. We'll just play it by ear then. So
that was probably because my sister was calling me just now.
Oh, okay, cool.
But we should be good.
All right. So I put a poll on YouTube community to see if people are planning on getting Switch Sports or not, and it's like split down the thirds of like 1/3 yes they're going to play it at launch, 1/3 wait and see, and 1/3 not at all. So Yeah, interesting. Not that surprising though. I feel like
Yeah, no,
it was a slightly more people said wait and see, which also not surprising. I think that's how a lot of capital G gamers are feeling.
Right.
But yeah, now some questions. So Jumpo asked thoughts on the amount of content Switch Sports is launching with. I've seen a lot of discourse around that.
I think it's less about the amount of content that will be the issue, and not in the sense that I've been talking about, like,
right,
but like the depth
of
content, right. Like how much it feels like you can get out of bowling,
Yep.
And I think there's a decent amount of that. I think it could definitely be more, and that is entirely because of what I mentioned before. We basically just have 3 instances of the same game, right, taking up 3 slots in theory, and that's not great. But like in the grand scheme of things, especially since we know golf is coming and there's signs that we know like that other stuff is also on the horizon, I think that this game has at least enough,
Yeah.
It has enough to be what it promises it will be, where it's like, it's like a Mario Kart Smash Brothers sort of like, not everybody is playing it all of the time, but there's always there's always like a noteworthy amount of people playing it at all time,
Yep.
like the player base is not going to drop to 0 anytime soon. The only thing that will get the player base to drop to close to 0 is a new version of the video game coming out. That sort of situation.
I think for me, especially knowing that those other ones should be coming, like, so golf, obviously, and then, but past that, I think we know from a data mine, right, that there's some other ones that are supposed to be coming.
Yeah.
I kind of just wish that, that Nintendo in general, when they do the games as a service sort of thing, they kind of just flirt with it for a while. I don't know, in a weird way that I kind of just wish they would just tell us their roadmap. And then, I would end up probably staying more engaged in that case than not. Because I think what happens right now is like when the new Pokemon Snap DLC came out, it was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months later, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
And I was just done playing the game, and then new DLC came out, and I was like, I was mentally checked out. In my mind, I'd close that chapter, as opposed to knowing, like, keeping a little dog ear page or whatever that I'll come back to when the DLC comes out. Like, I'm sure they have some data that shows something to the opposite, I guess. Otherwise they wouldn't keep doing it.
I think it depends on what the content is. Yeah. Like, for sure, like just based off of like Twitch, there were definitely people that dipped back in, and I dipped back in when they did DLC, and I think that it would have been like a bigger uptick if it was like a more consequential addition. Like if they were like shinies, I think a lot of people would have jumped back.
Yeah. Mark said Nintendo has a fear of commitment. Need to sit down and have a DTR. Do you know what a DTR is?
No.
Okay. Well, that's just, I think we're both from the like college ministry world, or like college, campus ministry world. Define the relationship is what it is. And it's, you sit down and it's like, what are your intentions? So that's just a funny thing. Yep, it is a niche thing. So there you go, Mark. All right. So yeah, I personally, it feels a little light. And the other thing is, like, this kind of stuff is so stupid, but to me, it really is kind of make it or break it, where if there was some variety of hub world kind of thing, that would legitimately make all the difference. And again, I know that's so stupid, but like, instead of just going from a menu into choose this game, like if you could do, it's the Kirby thing. Like having Waddle Dee Town is just infinitely better to me than if all of those things were exactly achievable in a menu, which they totally could be. Like that stuff could all live in a menu and be fine, but having Waddle Dee Town is what like sets it apart. So I don't know. There you go.
It's true.
All right. Next question. Rise Gang asked, do you think that we will eventually get Switch Sports Boxing and any other sports you think they might add?
Yeah. As far as when, I don't know. Like it entirely depends on if it's already on the docket, right? Yeah. But if it's not like actively like in development right now, it'll be dependent on how well the game does. And I think if like games like Ring Fit Adventure are any indication, like people like have like a lot of nostalgia for the Wii era now, right? Like games like that do succeed again. So like I have doubts that this game will be anywhere or like south of like 4 to 5 million units, and even that I feel like it's like low, you know. So I think that there will definitely be enough incentive for them to be like, oh, we weren't planning it before, but we'll do it if they're not already planning it, which I think is a possibility. Especially since boxing is like one of the OG sports. The only sport that I'm like iffy on whether they do it or not is baseball, and that's just because baseball in general like is a lot less relevant than it was then, and even then it was like waning in relevance, you know. Like obviously at one point,
although
baseball was like the sport here,
right?
But now it's like
in Japan though, isn't it still pretty popular?
I think in Japan it fell off to a degree, but
really?
It's probably more popular than it is. I mean, well, every sport in general, period, across the board, around the world fell off a little bit relative to normal because it's COVIDing outside. But I think that like even beyond that, like baseball was kind of falling off.
Interesting. There's so many sports that they could feasibly do, you know, like I don't know if they've ever done curling before, but like that could be a fun thing just because why not, you know. I don't know anything about curling, but like this is a great opportunity to learn.
I feel like at bare minimum they could like do all the Wii Sports and then do Wii Sports Resort from there. And there was like a decent amount of stuff in Wii Sports Resort.
For sure.
It was like cycling and like freaking basketball and like stuff.
Mark mentions frisbee golf, football, and Switch Sports.
I swear to God, if they do table tennis, I'm flipping a table. I'm going to be pissed. If they do.
Why? Oh, because
it's another version of the same game.
I will say, here's my hierarchy. Not that anybody asked, but here's my hierarchy of those kinds of games in real life. It's I think badminton is at the top. Tennis, I would like to like tennis, but I haven't played it enough. And like the times when I hit the ball, it just goes flying and I'm bad at it. So that's pickleball though is surprisingly
I don't know
high.
What the heck that is. What is that?
It's like old man. I mean, there's like some aggressive people, you know, like younger leagues or whatever playing it. But my boss at my old job was really into it for a while. And he plays a lot of what he'd call like white old man sports or that kind of thing, you know, golf and pickleball.
I would
it's
like cornhole.
Also that, yes. So that's the whole ranking. I don't remember the rest. But yeah, badminton IRL is pretty fun. But yeah, I'd be interested to play it on here and
volleyball.
See.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because it's not even on the list for me.
Crazy.
Yeah. Interesting.
Volleyball is the best one in this video game. It's the best one.
I would agree, though. I feel like all to your earlier point, all of the games from base Wii Sports need to show up. Need to is a strong word, but you know what I mean.
No,
and Wii Sports Resort is
get the pitchforks out right now, everybody.
Or honestly, I wouldn't mind if they do enough base game additions. Doing because to be honest, $40 for what they have now is fine. Like that's you know, that's reasonable, and especially if they add like 4 or 5 more games in there, then like that's great. They could do a Wii Sports Resort or you know Switch Sports Resort DLC for $20-$30 bucks. Put that on the expansion pack.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Easy.
free. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was like part of what greenlit this game, is where it's like, oh, and we can do DLC and we could put it on the expansion pass, and then I'm like, you're thinking you need a raise.
I like how Nintendo's the one they're just talking to themselves. It's like, Nintendo's like, and Nintendo's like,
but no, you know what I mean. Like,
I know what you mean.
Miyamoto's talking
exactly
to freaking junior dev number 242, and Junior Dev 242 is like, I really love Wii Sports. I'm like 30. I played Wii Sports with my brother, when I was growing up.
I want to know all of a sudden, who's the director of this game? It's Yoshikazu Yamashita. What has he done? Now I want to know. Just because you mentioned Miyamoto, I was like, obviously it's not Miyamoto.
Yeah, no, of course not. If he's working on a game, it's like about freaking gardening or something.
Yep. Okay, so this guy did. I just looked. He did Wii Sports. He did Wii Sports Resort, Nintendo Land, Super Mario Maker, and some other ones. But like, as far as the director of the games, like those were the ones that he did.
Makes sense.
Checks out. Next question. Sardi asks, what are you looking forward to the most from Wii Sports 2 switching it up?
It's not even Wii Sports 2, it's Wii Sports 4.
Oh yeah, 4. Because Wii Sports Club. What was Wii Sports Club?
We got Wii Sports, then we got Wii Sports Resort, and then we got Wii Sports Club, which was like Wii Sports Sweaty Edition.
Oh, interesting.
Where they like the gamepad for golf like showed like, oh, the ball is in the rough, and it gave you a visual indicator of like, oh, I gotta hit this ball hard because it's like it's in there.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like it just like they added like a layer or two to like every sport in the video game. It's kind of like how like Wii Sports Resort added like additional layers, where before it was like, it's waggle, but now it's like it matters how you swing and where you swing. It's just like another layer of that. It was all right.
Yeah. So what are you looking forward to the most out of this?
I mean, I'm looking forward to playing it with like the community and like co-streams and stuff. That's going to be the most hype thing. But like I want them to add baseball, because I feel like baseball will probably be like similar to like how soccer feels, where it's like those games have like more phases to them. There's more there's more switch ups that happen where it's like, all right, like I'm on offense, but I'm not the one with the ball, so I have a different role than I would if I did. But it's still not the same as like defending against getting scored on. Most games have like the very simple, either I'm on offense or I'm on defense, and that's it. Baseball, I feel like, has a similar situation where it's like there's offense and also like a defense that's like more nuanced than just I have ball, I don't have ball.
Yeah, I think that definitely makes sense. I think, like you said, for me, looking forward to community. Community stuff, and I think I'm most curious to just see how it turns out. You're just in general with the like for casual gamers and for like sales wise and stuff like that stuff is too exciting to me, more than it should be. So I just curious how it pans out.
It's like it says a lot about like with the what shape the industry's in, with the gaming meta is what are people into, it's cool for that reason, I think. Yep,
it's true. RP 1998 asks, when Switch Sports launch, what sport do you and AJ think will be your favorites? Hopefully it's Chambara. LOL.
Well, I know now. I thought like initially, I thought Chambara was going to be my favorite sport. Now it's like it's top 3. It's probably number 3. But right now soccer is my favorite sport. Free, like it's but after that, it's probably volleyball, and then Chambara. And then like,
have you tried out the additional modes, or are there additional modes or something in bowling?
I don't know if I think so, but the only thing that I saw was there was like regular bowling, and then there was like custom, and then I didn't really look into what the custom was, because Mega Man had a time constraint. So I was like, it's like, all right, well.
That's the thing I'm most curious about, I think, is like, I saw some bowling thing where there's like part of the lanes like shifting back and forth. There's like what
like Wii Sports had.
Yeah, where it's just like more gamey. I think I think that's the part that like for me I'll probably be most into. Like I don't know. Wherever there's a challenge that has to do with like progression kinds of things, that's what I'm legitimately going to have the most fun with. So there it is. We'll find out.
We shall see.
And last one for this topic, Let64 asked, looking forward to trying out Switch Sports with my family. Better make sure to use the straps with the kids to avoid flying Joy-Cons.
When I was playing this, I was like, I freaking got my straps that were still in the OLED box.
Nice.
Because I have so many straps from the like 4 pairs of Joy-Con that I have and don't really use, other than my white ones. And I was like, I'm getting the straps not because I'm worried about eating the Joy-Con, because like if my Joy-Con hits my monitor, it's not going to freaking break the monitor. Joy-Con's like less than like it's a few grams, like Joy-Con's not that heavy. But it was more so because like just holding the Joy-Con like by itself, and that is the control method, is like not comfortable. But with the strap, it feels better. I hate it. I hate it. It's too small. But with the strap, it feels better. So
because with the strap you have the little
like additional triggers, and it's a little bit bigger.
I think I just got used to it because like my hands aren't small, they're just normal size. They're not particularly big.
I mean, my hands aren't big. Like my hands are like, I'd say average size, but I have like lanky fingers. I have like piano fingers.
I think I have regular non-piano fingers. I've had to learn to stretch them for certain piano things, but that's not neither here nor there. But yeah, for me, I don't know, it's comfortable enough. But I still feel like probably with the swinging around and stuff, like the straps make sense, but still doesn't feel nearly as necessary as with the Wiimote, where like A, way heavier, it's going to break stuff. B, it's just like way heavier, so like you have more momentum to throw it with, whereas these kind of fit inside your hands a little better, so it's easier to not.
It's like when it's almost like akin to stuff like it being easier to cut yourself if you have a dull knife. Like you're gonna put more like strength behind swinging a Wii remote than you will a Joy-Con, because it's like, well, a Joy-Con is super light, so it's like you feel like you can put more, you can get more power out of using less.
It's true. But yeah, so that's Switch Sports. It's out. I mean, some places now, but
like as you're listening to it, unless you're currently listening to it, unless you're in the, I'm pretty sure it's out for Inda right now.
Nice. So yeah, there you go. Moving along is Mario into 2023. The Mario movie is no longer coming out this holiday, but instead coming out in April 2023. How do you feel about that?
All my homies hate Chris On, dude. All Chris On's fault.
Honestly, did you also? I saw Xeon say it first, but the whole like had to check to see if it was really actual Nintendo tweeting it out, because it seemed so not like a Nintendo tweet.
Nah, I immediately, because like that's a Nintendo tweet. It's not a like 2022 Nintendo tweet.
Yes.
But Nintendo used to do that all the time in the Wii U era, where it's like, yo, Miyamoto here. What's up? I'm freaking eating a biscuit and I'm working on the new Mario game.
Yeah.
But it's not coming out soon. So see you when it's out. But in the post Miiverse era, Miyamoto's like, I'm not talking to y'all. Burn that bridge.
Pretty much, yeah. I do wonder what all he's doing these days. I mean, obviously he's working on this movie, but like besides that,
giving people thumbs up, down, and to the side.
Loves to do it. Yeah, I mean, all in all, not a whole lot to say about this. I mean, I still like in the back of my mind, I've been actively wondering, is there a game associated with this movie or not? And then does this have any implications on that? Doesn't really matter, probably. Also, does this mean the movie's like not doing very well or whatever? I don't think so. I think it's probably fine. Otherwise, they'd have to delay it way more than 4 months. I think. Not that I know movies at all, but
I mean, movies are definitely like a faster turnaround than the video game.
That's true. Yeah.
But like 4 months is not like we're in turmoil.
Yes.
Right. Marvel movies have reshoots all the time and they're like fine,
Yeah. So yeah,
sometimes they're freaking Captain America and the Winter Soldier or whatever. Sometimes it's not for the better.
What's your favorite Marvel movie?
Favorite Marvel movie? Probably
Black Panther.
Yeah, Black Panther or Spider-Man Far From Home, but also kind of not. Probably Homecoming. I think I like Homecoming more than I like Far From Home.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think Far From Home is a better movie, but I like the direction of Homecoming better because it's a different thing. It's not just like, we're gonna make the same thing as the comic, you know.
I think honestly, all of the Spider-Mans have been great or, you know, good, but all of them feel like there's something that's like not quite, something that's just like a little bit off or something like that. So it'll be interesting. I don't even know what it is. I couldn't put my finger on it, but like something that makes it not be my favorite of the three. So they're all kind of in the same world there, but
makes sense.
Who's to say? Probably the director of
for the Patreon podcast.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna do a Marvel minute in there for the full context of that. Okay, this was just interesting. So the director of Balan Wonderworld,
Yuji Naka,
sued
Mr. Sonic himself.
Yeah. Yep, Yuji Naka sued Square Enix because of stuff. So that's interesting. Yeah, long story short, I mean, people probably know some of this stuff going on, but he was taken off the project like 6 months before the end of the game or before the game released. And from the sounds of it, was probably like, hey, this game isn't good enough. It needs more time or something. And Square Enix was like, nope, it's fine. And, you know, or at least we only have his perspective of this. So like, he's, you know, obviously painting himself in a good light.
Him, though. I'm inclined to believe him.
I would agree. Yeah.
I think Square Enix I've been saying it for years, man. They're the Japanese EA. And everybody's okay with it because they're Japanese. It's like Smash Brothers, you know, like with Smash Brothers players and stuff.
Yeah,
like people are way more likely to pop off for like a campy Japanese player than they are a campy American player. Because for whatever reason, when it's a Japanese player, like they're not campy, they're just, you know, patient. But when it's America player, they're like, this is the cheesiest gameplay I've ever seen. You know?
Yeah.
Like no, they're both camping. They're both playing the same game. It's the same thing here, where it's like Square Enix can be just as scummy with their like you know, their marketing tactics, but they're not EA, so it's not
yep bad. I mean, it definitely seems like to me probably it was something where like he would have wanted to delay it. He didn't specifically say that outright, I don't think, but at least that was the vibe where he wanted, you know, there needs to be more time put on this. They didn't want to delay it, and you know, maybe some kind of ultimatum sort of thing where it's like,
we're not delaying it. If you
we're not delaying it,
get out.
Yeah, pretty much. We're like, you know, and they knew that it wasn't salvageable within the amount of time. And so there was like, all right, like forget you.
Just like freaking throw it out there. See
so he's suing them or sued them or something. So curious kind of how that pans out. But it's true. I mean, like, honestly, good on him for his career's sake, because like he was getting panned across the board. And like,
yeah, but at the same time, it's not like Yuji Naka has the best track record, you know?
I'm sure. Yeah,
like I definitely believe him. But I'm not going to say that if they gave this game another year that it would be game of the year. You know what I mean?
Right. Like, yeah. But it might have been passable.
At best, that's what I was going to say. At best, it was passable. The best case scenario for this game is this game was fine. You know, there was no way that the game was going to be good. You know, like best case scenario, this game was getting like high 6s to low 7s. You know, like,
I think it would have been maybe just not broken, you know what I mean? Where it's still like story stuff is shallow, this, that, and the other, but like it's not super dumb where you get this one power and suddenly you can't jump because you do this and that, you know, like that kind of a stuff.
Right.
But that's the kind of stuff that like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure you could fix that in like a couple months, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe
I mean,
not.
it depends on how broken it is, I think. But this game, to be good, this game needed like a year and a half, if not significantly more than that, you know, to be passable.
Because you would have had to take away stuff to actually, and then add other things back in to make it good. Yeah.
Yep.
Instead of just like polishing up the, you know, turd that was there.
But like, there's also an element of this where it's like, you know, nerds love auteurs, man. Auteur worship is so like their narrative is 1000% going to be now. If Square Enix would have just gave this guy as much time and money as he wanted, this would have been game of the year, you know, like
Yep.
So like that element of it is nasty, but
I feel that, you know, and so that's a game that you could be playing if you want to, but we're not, because we're playing such things as Mario Golf 64 for myself personally. A little bit, not a lot. I'm not great at it. I've realized I wouldn't say it's hard, because that's probably not the right word, but it's okay, so to unlock the first character, Luigi, to just like go to the like unlock a character thing, he pretty much gets par on every course when you play. Like sometimes gets a bogey, sometimes gets a birdie, to where I don't know, maybe just because I'm not very good at the game, I'm also typically getting around par or having a mistake here or there. And so like I've very seldom gotten birdies on the hole. So like I've played the like try to unlock Luigi thing twice or once and a half, and didn't unlock Luigi. So I'm just stuck with the worse than Luigi characters. So yeah, that's me on that one. So, but it's, you know, still fun to play here and there.
Unlocks in that video game. I have next to no context of that game. I never even considered playing that. But neat.
Yeah.
I mean, not neat, unfortunate, I guess.
Yeah.
So who do you start with? Like Mario?
No, you don't. I'll let you guess. Guess as much as you want. You're gonna be wrong for most of it.
Toad.
Nope.
Generic human character.
Yes. Two of them. Okay. So you start with 4 characters. It's Peach, Baby Mario. Interestingly,
you could have gave me that.
Yeah. Plum, who is, I think, did it come out before? Maybe this came out after Mario Tennis. Yeah, it must have come out after Mario Tennis, because I think Waluigi's in this, and he was created for Mario Tennis. So in any case, Plum, which is a girl, and Charlie, I think, who is a boy.
Freaking Charlie, dude.
Who looks just his like polygon character model is disgusting. It's so bad. But his little like low render, you know, more like 16-bit kind of looking thing looks great, because it kind of looks more like Camelot's, like, you know, Golden Sun characters or something like that, because it's like more like pixel art ish. But yeah, when he's like blown, he's got like just huge lips that feel super out of place on his weird generic. I don't know what to tell you, but there it is. So that's one game. What about you? What you been playing?
I'm playing freaking Pokemon and like with the community, man. I do that on streams. I do the raid streams on twitch.tv/watch redirect. It's fun. Freaking Trev, man, he ruined the shiny economy with his
what do you mean?
His shiny hoarding in Arceus. That game never wants to give us shinies in Sword and Shield. I haven't seen the shiny since, except for that one that Mega Man got. Mega Man got a shiny Mewtwo, which is a terrible shiny.
Yeah,
but it's like a good shiny in terms of like the shiny economy.
Yeah,
it could be the ugliest shiny in the world. If it's a legendary, that's mad currency.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, I'm out of spite. I could have got a shiny Rayquaza. But Dragon Armor, also known as Nate, who's part of the community, I need to fight him. So he was like, nah, you can't. He was going to trade me his shiny Rayquaza for my shiny Ho-Oh. But I'm not giving up the fight, because he threw during a raid battle and he took a Pokemon from me, and I was like, nah, I'm fighting. We got to fight. And then when he was like, he offered Trev, he was like, yo, Trev, if you get a shiny Ho-Oh, I mean, if you freaking something about Mega Man. He was talking to Mega Man. He told Mega Man that if he gets a shiny Ho-Oh, he'll trade him a shiny Rayquaza for it. And I was like, yo, I got a shiny Ho-Oh in hand right now. I'm like, I could trade you right now. And he was like, no, you want to fight me. And I was like, that's true. That's a fact. I'm not giving that up. We're still fighting. So no shiny Rayquaza for me.
What color is Shiny Rayquaza? Is he yellow?
He's like a black color. He's like a
Oh,
Charizard situation. It's very cool.
ooh, very nice. Yeah, I like that.
Top tier shiny. It's one of the best shinies in the video game.
I definitely agree. Man, most of the like in-game models of certain colors are just like overly dull, and
Or
I don't
green,
like it.
or
Yeah, like so the shiny Lucario, for example, looks
terrible.
even worse in the game. That like I'm not like tremendously mad at his regular shiny or whatever, but when it shows it in game, it just like makes it
Gross.
I don't know. It just turns down the saturation or whatever to a point where it's just like, what's the point? So even Rayquaza, like he looks great. Also, I say Rayquaza, so I don't know why I said it your way all of a sudden, but that's fine.
My way is correct.
Oh, I'm sure it is, but
because it's Quasar. It's a Ray.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. Palindromes or something like that. Palindromes or something else. Portmanteaus. That's what it is. It's portmanteau.
There you go. Yep. Tis indeed. But yeah, nice. And then we played some Smash on Tuesday. That was fun.
Yeah, we play Smash every Tuesday usually, but this Tuesday for Smash, this Smash Tuesday was hype because we did community games with patrons. And you can too. If you're a Twitch supporter, doesn't matter if you're a Prime sub or a regular sub, and then you also pledge to Patreon at the $4 level, or you're not a Twitch sub or YouTube member and you just pledge at the $8 level, you can join in on the community games too, which means you get to play the game. And if you want to, you can hop into Discord and we stream it, and it's a great fun time. Also, if you're just a supporter at the $4 level and we don't fill up the lobby with the $8 members, you could jump in too.
It was fun having the just two completely different relatively different quadrants of skill levels of like you and Buddha and Rise and stuff and Sardi, whatever, doing great. And then me and Mark and Alec doing something. We had fun.
That's what I tried to throw. I was trying to throw.
Mark beat me for sure.
And then Rise coming out here, he's like, I'm picking my main. And I'm like, damn. I'm like letting people give me Game & Watch and Lucario. Granted, Game & Watch is good. I just don't use them, so it's like whatever. But I was trying to throw. I was like, y'all don't play this game. I'm not trying to be sweaty.
Yeah, honestly, and that is the best way to throw. Like just using some kind of organic handicap where it's like something where like you know how to do it, but like just you're not as proficient with it as something else,
right? Because like with Pokemon Trainer, it's like a thing of like it's a conscious effort to be like I have to not go for stuff. I have to be like, well, if I want you to have fun, I'm not going to take advantage of every opportunity that I see. But with other characters, I'm going to inherently drop stuff. So it's like that's fine if I pick this character that I don't really use. I know what they should do, but my muscle memory isn't doing that. So it's a more fair fight.
Indeed. It was fun though. I had a good old time.
It was fun.
But I look forward to the next one, which maybe Switch Sports. I guess we'll still put up the poll and just Switch Sports will be one of the ones in there.
Yep. And preferably, I kind of rather do it on a day that I don't usually stream. That way it's not like sacrificing a game that people want to play anyway, and it's not like sense. It's not like Smash, because Smash on Tuesday is a normal thing. So it's like people that like want to play Smash on Tuesday but can't or don't want to support on Patreon or Discord. Not Discord or Twitch or whatever. Don't have to play the game. So like if it's like on a special day that we don't usually stream, I think that's the best bet. Also, maybe it's a smarter idea to do those streams earlier if we can.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think probably like maybe a weekend too or something. Yeah, we'll see. This one was like kind of last minute in terms of like scheduling. Like, we knew we had to do it, but it was not had to do. We knew we had to like get it in there, but we were trying to like find something before the month was up, and so that's where we are.
Yep. But next month, we know ahead of time to schedule it and get a better time that works for people that are international or are like Alec and have like freaking crazy early work day.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even thought about that's why he would go to bed early, is because he's got to get up for bakery at like, I don't know, 4 or something.
Yeah,
Probably.
exactly.
Yep, that's rough. Yeah, that was me in college. I worked the morning shift at Burger King like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, something like that, and still got up at like, I don't know, 4 something. And yeah, so typically was trying to go to bed at like 10 p.m., which felt really early in college days, especially compared to, everybody else going to bed at not that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that. Granted, I don't think I've other than when I was like forced because I was a child to go to sleep at like 9 or whatever. I've like always had like generally the same sleep schedule where it's like I'll go to sleep at like freaking 3 a.m. and then wake up at like 9, 10.
Yep.
But recently my sleep schedule has been a little worse than that. Actually, like I've been going to sleep at like 5 and waking up at like it's like 7, 8. No particular
reason in particular.
No, absolutely not. There's just when my body wakes up. That's my sleep schedule. And like for the most part, I wake up and go to sleep when I am tired and no longer tired. That's how it works. But
mine is much too dependent on a small human.
Yeah, true. No, AJ, what? I don't know what to tell you. I try to go back. Sometimes the thing is, like, if like the sun's not up, when I wake up, I'm like, nah, I'm going back to sleep. Like that's the only time that I'll be able to go back to sleep. But if the sun is up, I cannot. It's not going to happen. It's impossible to go back to sleep. So that's just how my body works, man. Hate to see it.
I've never been a big fan of sleeping in anyway. Just like, especially in, I don't know, in high school. On Saturdays, I'd like wake up at 6 or 7 or something and be like, now I'm going to work on music. And, like it was, I don't know.
I was just I was exactly like that, but not, I mean, part of like high school, especially was definitely like the exact same thing, like music. But like before that, I was like, man, I'm not sleeping in. I'm 8. I got to go to school on Monday. I want to watch Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, exactly. Get all the fun stuff. Like sleep isn't fun. Sleep is just nice.
It's like if you're making me go to sleep at 9 p.m., I'm waking up at 6 and I'm using my whole day, man.
It's true. So there you go. And last game before we move into the Q&A bits, because we gotta do another podcast after this one. So last game is I bought Bug Snacks, and because Ashley has been obsessed with the theme song for a long time, and so she's been curious about what it is, so we bought it, and she started like 10 minutes of it, but it was as Ezra was eating dinner and not thrilled, so we stopped. So we'll play that at some point and report back and let you know how it goes. But we have it now.
I mean, I don't feel like you shouldn't have bought it. I feel like you could have got that for free. I mean, I got the Pop Agenda contact, so you could have got that. You talk about it on the podcast at the very end. You could have got it, but future reference.
Honestly, that's I don't even think about that very often anymore, because there was a while there where it's like, well, we're not making videos, so and then
but we're still making the podcast. Like. I was considering it, but then I was like, I already have this game because I have it on PlayStation because it was free on there. And that was the first thing that came to mind. I was like, wait, I have that game. Why? And then I was like, oh, no, I have it on PlayStation. You don't have a PlayStation.
That's funny. All right, now I'm moving into Q&A. So we already did all the questions that have to do with Switch Sports. If you skipped that section and missed that because you're skipping around places, you can go back to that bit and listen to those.
True.
YouTube community, we got a couple questions here. One of them Switch Sports related. So B_T said, I hope I'm not too late. Congratulations. You're not. May have asked before, but in the foreseeable future, do you believe Nintendo will acquire any smaller indie devs or publishers to be under their license? If so, which ones? Also, do you see them buying any larger devs or publishers?
I could see that, like, out of all the like noteworthy like indie devs, I mean, Yacht Club is like a easy one that I feel like I could see them being a good fit, but I don't think that Yacht Club is the type of studio to want to do that. I think like out of all the indie devs that like it just makes sense and it fits would be like Shannon. I could see them buying them.
That one would make sense.
But other than that, I don't know. I feel like a lot of indie studios that are like Nintendo's vibe value their independence.
Yeah.
And also the thing about Nintendo is like I think they also value the like not having to do that. You know, like they rather feel like form a relationship with a studio and you know just have it be this organic thing rather for them to like buy the studio, you know.
I think, I mean, this kind of leans into something I'll be talking about in my next video, whether that's this week or next week. But like, whereas everybody else is like, I don't know, kind of fighting over a bunch of stuff that's there, you know, trying to like assert dominance in terms of the IP war and that kind of stuff. Nintendo just like doesn't really care about that because they've already got lots of IPs in there. You know, they know that they can work with anybody and those people would be thrilled to work with them, kind of a thing.
On top of the fact that I think that they rather foster like internal talent than to like try to like reprogram existing talent, you know.
Right. And like, I mean, especially in terms of they have seemingly the most distinct work culture of any of the, you know, of the game studios and stuff, or specifically of the big three.
Right.
So it seems like the what they like to do is work with teams to basically turn them into a Nintendo studio, more or less, and then buy them after that. If, you know, if stuff arises, but like,
and it's usually, I mean, it's like a relationship thing. It's like, hey, we're ready to sell. We would like to continue to work with you. So like, if we want to sell, if you want to buy, cool. But it's rarely a thing of Nintendo being like, we need more studios, we need more talent, we're going to acquire you. It's like,
for internal reasons or external, like showing off kinds of reasons, you know. Because like that's, if we think about Microsoft in terms of them buying studios, the reason they're doing it, I would just imagine, I don't really know, but number one, they get more money because they have all of these new games that they're publishing and stuff. So they make the publishing money from that, but they also have to spend a lot of money there. So, but really they're getting a lot more people in Game Pass now because like Game Pass now includes all of these other things. So like it's serving their primary directive. And then also, I mean, that makes Game Pass looks better, but it also just makes Microsoft look better as a whole. So like there's, you know, there's some clout behind it for sure.
I think the biggest thing for them is like they cut the line in legacy, you know, because like as they stood
totally,
the only game that they had that mattered on even close to a level of like a Mario or like, I mean, Nintendo's just not fair. Nintendo has multiple games that I mean IP that are again like far and away way more popular than anybody else's. But like, you know, Sony has Uncharted, which is like a more recent success, God of War, you know, that sort of stuff. And the irony is Microsoft owns a lot of PlayStation's legacy now. And a little bit of Nintendo's, you know, Banjo. But for the most part, like Microsoft didn't really have that legacy. Broadly, like obviously people that grew up with Xbox, it's like I freaking love PlayStation Time Cat. You know, like
Viva Pinata or something.
Viva Pinata is my favorite game of all time. But like they're not in the video game like history books in the way that even Yoshi is. You know, like Yoshi is probably more important to the gaming industry at large than 90% of every other big three IP. You know,
I can't remember if I mentioned this on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, but I was at Target and there was a family behind me in line, but like lots of just like little funny things happened, but it was like two parents and I don't know, a 6 and 8 year old kid or something. And the 6-year-old like pointed at a plushie of Yoshi and he goes, "Oh mom, that's Loshi." And she goes, "It's Yoshi." And he's like, "It's Loshi." And she's like, "It's Yoshi." That was so like, I don't know, the mom knowing things now is very fun because like,
And that's the thing. That wouldn't happen if it was like the kid was like, "It's Dinks, the Time Cat." You know, they're not gonna like.
She'd be like, "Sure,
it's
go for it."
You know, like I guess it's Dinks. Like,
yeah, no, totally. So all that to say, I think it is unpredictable which ones they would or wouldn't buy, if any.
Yeah.
That's probably all. Yeah.
I can't think of a time when Nintendo acquired a studio for anything but what felt like a necessity to them.
Yeah, right.
You know, like they don't buy studios to gain anything that they didn't already have. It's usually to maintain, you know.
Yeah. And even like what's the studio behind the Mario and Luigi RPGs? That's Moon something Dream.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what they're called, but Alpha Dream.
Yeah. They let them go bankrupt.
Yeah, exactly. Like even that, they were like, whatever.
So,
man,
like, weird, you know.
They didn't value them enough, you know.
Apparently not. Yeah, super weird.
But if it was just about like, you know, more talent, more output of games, they would have swooped them up. I'm sure that they could have got them for a bargain, but it just wasn't important enough for them.
Yep, that's true. All right, now moving on to some questions from Twitter. Mitchell Monroe asked, what's your third favorite gaming series? I feel like people talk about their tippy top favorites a lot, so sometimes it's more interesting to see what got just edged out.
My third favorite gaming series.
Honestly,
currently, it's hard.
Talking about series as a whole in general is hard. It's a little easier for you in terms of your number one than for me.
No, it's not. It's not.
You wouldn't say just Pokemon through and through?
I would say no, because Pokemon's complicated. I hate the Pokemon games for the most part. You know, I just like the world.
Yeah.
That's why it's like if somebody asked me what my number one game series was, Pokemon would probably still be an answer, but it would be like an honorable mention sort of thing because Smash Brothers, like free. Like, Smash Brothers easily. But the thing is, like, I care more about Pokemon as an IP than I do Smash Brothers as an IP. Yeah. But as a game, you know, I like Smash Brothers infinitely more than I like Pokemon. So like that's a complicated answer. Everything else, I don't know. I feel like there's like no other series is probably Splatoon. Honestly,
interesting.
Splatoon.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd say because like where Smash
is your number three?
Three.
Okay.
Because like if Pokemon,
what's two in that case?
Either Pokemon or Smash, whichever one wins out, you know. But like Splatoon, I feel like has with both Smash and Pokemon lack one way or the other, right? Like Smash, I don't care about as an IP in the same way that I care about Pokemon. But Pokemon as a gameplay experience, I don't care about nearly as much as I do Smash. Splatoon, I love both, you know, like there's not a Splatoon game that I don't like playing. And I think the IP is really cool. I think that the world is very neat. I think that the lore is well thought out and it's like unexpectedly so. I like the fact that they have you know, like these persistent storylines and like the what is the term? The like environmental storytelling of this stuff that like what I was talking about before with Judd, where it's like there's Judd and then he had Little Judd and Little Judd is like big now. Like that type of stuff. Like there's like not that many franchises that do stuff like that in a way that isn't like they don't like they would make a big deal out of it. It would be a character announcement in every other game, but for Splatoon, it's just like, well, duh, you know, like obviously he would get older, of course, you know, like.
Yep. No, yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yep. What about you?
Mine's hard, I feel like. Because it feels like I have obvious answers, but I don't know that I do. I think probably okay.
Because the first thing that comes to mind for you is like I feel like Golden Sun and Zelda are like
here's the four that like exist
sort of situation.
Kind of, but like so I'll say this. So in no particular order yet, because we'll figure this out. Zelda, Pokemon, Golden Sun, and Mario are. I'm trying to think if I'm just like forgetting something somehow. But yeah, those four are the ones that are at the top. But all kind of like, I mean, I love Zelda, but like it wasn't until Breath of the Wild that it like cemented itself as like that's the one. Right. But like as far as like the world and like I'm a very big fan of that kind of like high fantasy kind of sort of thing. So there's that. Pokemon though, like, I mean, it was my first game at all. And though I missed a whole bunch of generations, like I have never stopped having a soft spot for Pokemon as a franchise, but more specifically, some of the older gens and the Pokemon that are within them and stuff, but like, that's never gone away. So like, so yeah, it's still really, I mean, it's high up there. So I could almost put that one as number one, but kind of not at the same time. And then, Mario has a consistency kind of thing going for it. And then Golden Sun is just 2 games. I haven't even played the 3rd game, even though I have it. And I finally stuck it into my 2DS to play it and stuff. But, I've got like a certain kind of soft spot for it. So all that to say, it's like hard to really say. I think if I were
I don't think I ever would have guessed Mario, because like I hear you talk about Mario like as an IP, like I hear you talk about the Mario sports games more than anything. Like it just feels like you're like a big Camelot fan. So like it makes sense, but I wouldn't have guessed it, I don't think.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the Golden Sun and Zelda for sure, I would have guessed that those.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Mario like platformers and stuff, especially, like, yeah, Mario 64 holds a special kind of place in Super Mario World, and like Mario Odyssey, honestly, too, is so. I'm gonna say Zelda, Pokemon, Mario with an honorable mention for Golden Sun, just because it's got such a less legacy behind it within all the rest of the stuff. But yeah, so there you go.
Sense. So there we go. There it is.
All right. Cheesy64 asked, what Nintendo game do you feel like is underrated and everyone should play at least once? I feel like I'm bad at these kinds of questions, the underrated games things, because I feel like my opinions probably line up with a lot of other people's more often than not in terms of like, some of these ones.
Arms.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Arms. Yeah, because I think the problem with Arms is like people think one extreme or the other, and it's really somewhere in the middle. In terms of like the like place that it should occupy in gaming discourse, in terms of like, is it a sweaty game? Is it a casual game? It's like, yeah, it's both. It can be both of those things equally. And like the people that, from my experience, that I've seen not like it, want one thing out of it, but like play it like it's the other thing. There's some people that's like, this isn't Wii boxing, it's too complicated. And there's some people that's like, this isn't a fighting game, it's not, it's casual, it's Wii Sports.
Yeah.
And it's definitely somewhere in between. I think that Arms is a very cool game that is fun and has very good characters. We should try. Granted, it's not like it sold 2 million copies.
Right. Yeah. You make very good points. I never played Arms really, other than the demo. So, man, for me, honestly, I'm just looking through just in case anything like comes to mind. Most of the things that I suggest that I would say, I think other people are like, well, yeah, obviously, duh. So that's, not doing any favors for the question specifically, but like, I don't know, maybe Pikmin is a good one that's like, it's underrated. And like, I had a great time with Pikmin 3. I don't know that, or I'm just going to name a couple because I don't know how underrated any of these are, and just barely so, if anything. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, I feel like, Pikmin 3, and I don't know, maybe some others, but for the most part, I've gotten a bunch of games that are like pretty well liked as well by other people. So I don't have good answers. All right.
I mean, you're always on the Golden Sun crusade.
100%. So. But the thing with that one is like, I don't know that I think it's less known in some regards, you know what I mean? But like not necessarily
But I think that's the same thing as it being underrated, because like if you bring up Golden Sun to somebody, they're not like, what is that? Like they've heard of it. They've seen Isaac in Smash Brothers, but they're like, I'm not playing that, which I think is pretty squarely in underrated territory.
Yeah. I mean, also, I think because, we're going Nintendo games, so first party Nintendo, I'm assuming. But otherwise, I'd throw in one of my old classics, Lord of the Rings: Return of the King on GameCube. Just so good. It's just a whole lot of fun. So, it's an EA game, so not published by Nintendo, but sure, we'll say it counts. Because why not? Discord questions. Mark asked, sports are cool, but which type of chicken wing is better, flats or drumettes?
Flats, free.
100%. I feel like as a kid, I definitely would have said drumettes. And that has changed by
and that is a case
so
study in why kids are stupid.
I think it's more of a challenge to eat the flats than the drumettes, probably.
No, it's not. You're talking about as a kid? Yeah, probably.
As a kid, yeah. Because it's just like everything's
kids
just right
are dumb,
there.
man. Because they don't understand that you could just like break it and then get like that's the easy mode.
Right, exactly.
Just breaking the top of it and then
honestly, a little bit of the challenge, like not breaking it and eating everything, it makes it more fun too.
Nah, I think that's serial killer behavior.
I mean, this is also coming from the person like eats candy bars in, like eat the bottom off of Twix first and then that kind of a thing. Like I think I never eat a candy bar this way. I eat it this way, or like something weird. Just because it's more entertaining.
That's like how my oldest sister eats grapes, where she like eats all the skin off first. Weird. Yeah, that type of stuff. It's like freaking like delayed gratification sort of thing, it's like eating your vegetables first. I don't know why she got a kick out of that, but it's like
I feel like
weirdo.
You said that was your sister?
Yeah.
I think your sister and I would get along.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, that was like, the whole thing last week with chili, where I'd eat all the beans out of chili and then eat the chili.
And but in the end, you're like, why did I do that? But she
was done.
It.
I mean, I do it with some things now, because like with the chili, I realize it's a better thing for it. And now more often than not, I'll probably, if there's like 3 different things on a plate and they don't just like completely not go together, then I'll end up like eating them, on the same bite for several things.
I do want to point out, for the people that care about this a lot, you gotta crucify Sardi, because Sardi said boneless. Get him, internet.
I saw that. I'm
for the record, Sardi, I don't disagree, but get him.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I don't think it's like
just in the interest of convenience. Like I like convenience a lot, man. Like that's a big part of my life, is that I'm not trying to do unnecessary stuff, but I'm not. I like I don't like convenience that much, to the point where it's like, bone, like flats are convenient enough. They're at the threshold of like, it's not, I don't got to go out of my way to eat flats.
I guess for what it's worth, I haven't gotten probably like particularly good boneless wings that much. Like I think if I've gotten them, it's been like freezer bag wings that are a little bit chewy probably, or something, like not particularly good. So that's probably part of it. Like if I went to Buffalo Wild Wings or something and got boneless wings, I'd know better. And
we did that one time.
Then I'll let you
know. I don't know what kind of wings we got. I don't remember that, but we did do that one time.
That's true. I think I might have gotten a burger or something.
I don't remember, man. That was like,
it's been a while.
It's like 2-3 years ago at this point. COVID is COVIDing.
Man,
once it stops, that was
2019.
Man. Yep.
Goodness gracious.
It's true.
Alec asked, if you're a squash, what type would you be?
I don't know enough about squash to answer this. Like I know butternut squash and that's it. So.
There's spaghetti squash.
I thought spaghetti squash was like a preparation thing. I didn't know that was.
I think I'm pretty sure it's called that too. It is, I mean, you're definitely right in that. But I'm pretty sure
pumpkin is a squash. I hate pumpkin though.
How to
NGL.
Yeah. I don't know.
Unsubscribe.
I'd be a zucchini squash, because like it's technically, Or yeah, because it's technically a squash, but it's like out there and weird.
It's the hipster squash.
Yeah,
butternut. No, I feel like
that's not
butternut
accurate. I'd
squash
be
is
just
probably
like the
hipster.
most. I'd be yellow squash, just like right across the board.
No, I feel like you'd be like a pumpkin.
Okay.
Pumpkin, I feel like is like a crowd pleaser. You know, like squash, I feel like is like generally like a thing that people don't like. It's like a vegetable sort of thing, you know. It's like I don't want to eat that. That's squash. It's like Brussels sprouts, you know. But pumpkin is like the party animal of the squash. You know what I mean? It's like I'm the fun mom. Like, and I think you have fun mom energy.
I am a fun mom. Thank you very much.
That's a fact.
Good stuff. Trev asked, why is shiny Lucario so bad? Like, really?
It's terrible, dude.
Why would they do that to such a popular Pokemon? I can't understand it.
They shouldn't have done
what color scheme do you think they should have done?
They should have made them white and black. That would have been sick.
That would have been real good.
Yellow is terrible for freaking Lucario. That's a huge downgrade.
Yep, they're making mistakes. And last but not least, Mega Man asked, why is Ho in general so bad?
That's a fact. That's also true. He's a glorified turkey.
I was surprised. I watched some channel do a like Pokemon run, challenge run kind of thing with Ho versus Lugia and see which one goes better. Ho went way better than Lugia, which I was surprised by because in my mind, Lugia is not only better.
I mean, Ho is a better Pokemon competitively for sure.
Yeah.
So I was only kind of sucked competitively, but
it's
visually.
It's
visually
so cool.
Yeah, visually,
it's just a great Pokemon.
But Ho looks like a freaking, you know, he's elite. Yeah.
I also Pokemon the movie 2000 is just so good, and Lugia is, I mean, was created for that movie specifically. So like, you know,
well, I don't know if that's how it is.
So yeah, it turns out, I mean, I only know this from like a Did You Know Gaming or something like that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I think the Pokemon already existed, but like Lugia was kind of molded around the movie.
If I'm not wrong, which I could be, I'm pretty sure that it was that they literally the guy that made the movie made Lugia and wasn't intending him to be like, was intending him to be a Pokemon for just the movie. And then they're like, no, we're putting him in the game too. And he was like, oh, okay.
I could have sworn it was like already like in the game's data or something like that. And you're like, I want that one.
In the comments if you want. Yeah.
You should see. Yeah, let us know.
But in any case, I mean,
recently.
It's just a very cinematic Pokemon and just like
true.
Super cool. I need to go watch that movie again. It's so good.
Yo, the first three.
I haven't seen a whole lot of the Pokemon movies.
The first three Pokemon movies are a product of drugs. It's true.
Yeah. Wait, I guess I only knew about that for the Lucario one. I mean,
because it's that guy. He worked on the first three movies.
Oh, really? There you go.
And that is why the first three movies. I mean, not the drug specifically, although maybe, you know, but like, that's why the first three movies, because of that guy, are the best ones, you know, like all the other movies are like mid. Except for the last two are okay. Except for the part where Pikachu talks. That was kind of,
I'm pretty sure I've told this story on here before, but I don't remember. So just in case I haven't, here goes. Ashley and I watched Pokemon, the first movie together back at some point in college, but we couldn't find it anywhere to watch it officially, so we just watched it off YouTube. And the version on YouTube was missing one of the audio stems entirely, and so there was no music throughout most of the movie. And I think that was mostly it. I think it was just there was no music throughout most of the movie, and some sound effects were gone as well. And so there were some bits of the movie where it's like primarily music, and there are like some sounds that happen. And specifically the ones that come to mind are like, there's one bit where it's like huge waves crashing, and that was awkward because like there's no music, and so just like
What about the part when the Pokemon are just freaking going at it?
That's okay. So
Pikachu
that
just punching each other in the face,
and like, but at least at that part they're like mad, and so that has some energy behind it. It's the way end of the movie where the clone Pokemon are flying into the sky, and normally there's probably some kind of like
sentimental music,
kind of thing, and instead it's silence, and just as each one flies up, like the Venusaur just goes sword, and like one Pokemon at a time is just like making a noise and flying off into space, and we were cracking up.
That is funny.
Yeah, so
good times.
It was good times.
Though sucks. Yeah, terrible shiny. Hello, turkey.
And with that, it's time for Patreon cast. So we'll see some of y'all in a little bit, and others we can see you if you want to sign up for a Patreon and listen to the monthly Patreon podcast. True,
all that stuff linked in the description. If you listen to this on audio podcast, rate us on your podcast service of choice. Man, it helps a lot. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. If you're not on, if you're on one and not the other, check out the other. It helps. Thank you. Goodbye.
It's true. See you.